So let's take a look at this piece of code. We're going to write this program inside the system, and we're going to try generating a details list using this example. So let's log on into the system. So inside our system, let's go to the Object Navigator to create our program. Let's create it inside our package, and let's create a new program, and this is going to be called the C flight detail list. We uncheck top include, flight details list as a title, executable program, and let's save. So now let's copy the code that we have before. So let's start with the start of selection event. That is where we are going to start coding. So we have the select, car ID, and con ID, airport from, airport to, that time. So we want all these fields selected. From the SP fleet table into corresponding fields of, and we're going to write a working area WSPFLI, and we write the corresponding end select. So now we're going to write for every select a new line. First, let's declare our working area. So data WASPFLI type SP fleet. Let's save. So now we're going to write the car ID the con ID, the airport from, the airport to, and the departure time. And now we use the hide statement to hide and to specify our key values. So our key values are car ID and con ID. We save. We go ahead and hit the pretty printer, and then after the select is done and we write that to the screen, we can program the @line selection event. This event is going to be triggered when the user double clicks on the list or selects the icon, the little icon with the eyeglasses. So at that selection event, we're going to write the following piece of code. We're going to use a text symbol and we're going to write the car ID and the con ID. After that, we're going to select the details from another table. So we want the flight date, the seats max, the seats occupied from the S flight table into corresponding fields of S flight working area. And now we're going to use our key values. So where the car ID equals the car ID we selected or we double clicked and the con ID that we double clicked. And we end the select. So for every select, we're going to write to the screen a new line with the date that is going to be part of the details we want to print on the second list. I'm sorry, this is S flight. And we also want the seats max and the seats occupied. So we save and we go ahead now and we have to declare this working area. So I copy, paste, type S flight. Save, check my syntax, everything is okay. And now we have to create, don't forget we have to create this text symbol. So we double click, yes, and this text symbol is going to be the flight date for connection. Remember, it's always better to use text symbols instead of writing this directly in the code. So we save, yes, and activate. And we go back. So we go ahead and activate our program. So before running our program, let's take a look at our code so we can understand what we are doing here. So we start with the start of selection statement. So this is going to be the event that is going to be triggered as soon as our program starts running. So first we select this information from the SP fleet table. This information is going to be displayed on our basic list. So first we're going to print a list to the screen that contains the car ID, the con ID, the airport from, the airport to, and the departure time. That is going to be our basic list. Then, if we double click a record or a line of our basic list, we're going to display a second list or a details list. So that is going to happen at the line selection event. So when the psi else sind equals 1, remember that it means this is our first details list, because then we can add another details list and that is going to be value 2. So but this one is value 1. So in the first details list, when we double click, we want to display the flight dates, the maximum seats, and the seats occupied from that flight that we selected. So we're going to select that from this table and we're going to print it to the screen. So we're going to have a basic list with the airlines and the connections and the airports, and a second details list with the flight dates and the seats occupied and maximum seats of each flight. So let's run the program. And we have the basic list of all of the airlines with the connections. So this is airline AA connection 17 from this airport to San Francisco airport with departure time 11. But now we want to know more detail about this flight. We want the flight dates and the seats occupied, or the maximum seats. So I double click, and that takes me to the second list, the details list. So here I have all the flight dates with all the maximum seats and all the occupied seats. If I want to go back, I just press back. Remember that just selecting a row and clicking on this icon has the same effect as double clicking. So for example, I select DL 1699 and I have the flight date for connection DL 1699, and I get all the information available. Remember that you have to use the hide ABAP statement to specify the key values.